Hello and welcome to the first edition of Journalist Hangout this month. Happy New Month. I'm Ayodele Osubakun. Today on the Hangout, workers disrupt May Day celebration in Abuja as its leadership demands for a new minimum wage. The Northern governors reconcile Emir Sanusi and Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. And later in the program, police arrest former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido. I'll be joined by Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Muffins Oloja, and Mayor Akipelu. So if you're ready, let the Hangout start now. Nigerian workers have very little reason to celebrate today. They have been enduring difficult times lately. Recently, the National Assembly hurt them more with its proposed removal of minimum wage from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list. Workers are both hungry and angry. Last week, leaders of the three labor centers said they would engage the National Assembly and shut down the country if the lawmakers go ahead with the amendments. Earlier today, they disrupted the National Workers' Day celebration in Abuja. They were angry that neither Mr. President nor his deputy went to address them, although President Buhari was represented by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige. Ngige's approach to addressing seemingly angry workers was a classic failure. He gave a speech to a government official to deliver on behalf while he sits there. In no time, workers shouted the government officials down, went on a frenzy, and many of them left the event in anger. What does this say about workers' welfare in Nigeria? Julie, this day is so much, is very, very important in the calendar of any serious government. During the administration of Obasanjo and, from 1999, May Day is like a day that Mr. President will renew his covenant with the workers. And that time, any new policy that will be coming, that will be an avenue for the president to announce a new policy, maybe new welfare package and every other thing, even under the military regime. So I don't know, in 2017, Mr. President is not available. The Vice President was in Lagos here on the program, and the Minister of Labour that is meant to represent the federal government of Nigeria, this is a very serious business. I was even told that even effort by former governor of Edo State to appeal to these workers, that's one of their former president, Adams Aliyu Oshomole, that they shouted him down. So the significance of the 2017 May Day, wasn't that an opportunity for this administration to reach out to the workers and try to, seal up a relationship with them?
Yeah, but the workers had every reason to be angry. They just latched upon Ngige's indiscretion, to outsource his job of addressing them. They had every reason to
outsource his job.
Yes, because if for so long, government has not shown any serious effort to do something about the minimum wage. The law says that every 5 years, the minimum wage has to be reviewed, and we all know that prices of goods and services have gone up. The last time the minimum wage was reviewed was 2011 by Goodluck Jonathan. And the economy, if you compare the Nigerian economy at that time with what we have now,
an inflation of 2 digits,
it makes it mandatory that the minimum wage has to be reviewed. It makes no sense. I saw the statement that Bukola Saraki issued. He was even saying that, look, let the federal government set up a panel, set the ball rolling. Let us see clear signs that you want to do something about this minimum wage. Because Ngige has been addressing workers, he's been promising that they are going to do something about the minimum wage.
Walking the talk now.
But we have not seen any concrete plan in place. It's not enough to just say to people what they would like to hear.
Sound bites.
You must do what the people would like you to do, not to just promise them. So already they were very angry. across the country, workers are getting a raw deal. States can't pay, apart from the young man who is the governor of Cross River State, who is actually giving the workers more than they deserve.
So
because
Ben Ayale.
He's already paid them their salary for the month of May, which was what he did last year.
Last
In
December.
fact, the NLC chairman in the state pleaded with him that he should not pay because it will amount to paying 2 salaries in 1 month. That's what it means. Because when did they get the April salary that you've said they should pay from May 1? But the governor stuck to his gun and insisted that, gave an instruction yesterday that the salary must be paid on May 1. So where some governors are unable to pay, and they have no shame about it, we have someone who is actually paying 2 salaries in 1 month. In Kaduna, you saw what happened. 2 different sets of people representing Labour, who claim to be representing Labour. The new group, United Labour Congress, and the NLC. But even despite the fact that the Labour remains fractured, the issue of their welfare still comes into play. So government must realize that it has to do something about the minimum wage. It must do something about the minimum wage. And I also think that what obtains in America, we should also do it here. We don't need to pay a minimum wage. States can pay higher. For example, 29 American states currently pay higher than the federal government.
Okay, Mayor, when you look at this, they are saying that the National Assembly want to legislate. I thought this is a welcome development to remove the minimum wage from the exclusive list, to put it on the concurrent list. Going by my understanding, exclusive list, so that it's not going to be at the beck and call of the federal government. If Ekiti State is saying that this is what I can pay, this is my IGR, this is what I can contend with. But there might be a national standard for minimum wage. If they can pay more, fine.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go.
Removing it from the exclusive lists.
Yes, I think that's the best way to go.
But not a national benchmark.
Yes, because why? I agree that there is need to review the minimum wage. I agree. But the problem is that most of the states cannot even pay the so-called minimum wage. A lot of states have been able to pay because federal government gave them bailout. We cannot continue to give states bailout. There must be need for states to generate and pay the workforce that they can afford.
But
that's my belief.
The chairman of United Labour Congress, that's the Joe Ajero now, told me sometime last week. He said, look, these people that are pretending not to, inability to pay that minimum wage, that is just a kind of decoy to make sure that they don't make higher demands, that they know what is on ground. They put the figures on ground. They have the fact that there's no governor in Nigeria that can pay 18,000 naira.
But the reality is that there are a lot of governors that cannot pay 18,000 naira. If you remember, it became an embarrassment in Osun for a long time that they couldn't pay, and people had to be donating foodstuffs for workers in that state. So, to say
that is like a thing of the past in Osun now.
Yes,
in the last
because there was federal government bailout.
There's an element not because of bailout. I think they walked around it.
No, federal government bailout and the sorry?
They are not receiving full salary.
They walked, that's why I'm saying they walked around it. Just get something. He agreed with the Labour people that this is what we get, and they walked around it.
That's not the right thing to do.
It's better to pay than not pay anything.
Not paying anything at all. That people should serve him for months.
When you don't pay, the debt climbs.
Yes.
And you are obligated to pay.
So why do you not want to
Martin, some governors, let me play the devil's advocate here. Some governors are saying that, look, if I pay with the little resources I have, that means I'm going to be servicing less than 5% of the entire workforce of my state. That if the civil servant, let's say, it's like Ekiti State, you're saying that, look, I have 50,000 civil servants, and I'm going to be using 70% of my IGR and my allocation to be paying them, that what will now remain for, what will be left for other sectors.
You know, this thing Mayor just addressed about this, removing this from exclusive legislative list, is the best thing that has happened. The only trouble...
But the Labour is kicking against this.
The reason is that the people who are even proposing it are arbitrary. They are not communicating even the benefits to workers. We cannot be asking for federalism on one hand and be ignoring the features of federalism on the other. Because I have never seen I have been studying Forum of Federation members. They are in Canada. Nigeria is a member of Forum of Federation. You can't practice federalism like this. Even in schools, teachers who graduated same time, who are professors, don't receive the same salary. Not to talk of states. Like Babajide just said, states that have the capacity to pay higher than the federal government should be allowed to pay.
Like Lagos.
So you like Lagos.
Like Lagos.
California is almost like the 6th largest economy in the world. They can afford to fix salary that they can pay. New York is bigger than so many states in Africa.
Massachusetts is the highest paid state.
Highest paid.
It's $11
power.
Yeah. So I
in the
think
country.
that instead of this agitation, we should sit down.
725.
It is wrong. We are kicking against so many federal laws on this exclusive list. The Revenue Mobilization, Fiscal Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, we just make a law through the National Assembly. We have an Act of National Assembly of 2003 amended later, to pay everybody, even local government, the law from Abuja. It is the same thing we are talking about EFCC and some other laws that they are using to control the states. It is the same way we say going to Abuja to be sharing this thing every month. It's not right. And we are down now. I think it is one of the most significant things we should discuss. We cannot be asking for federalism on one hand and be ignoring its features. It will serve everybody right. You can't say that the lecturers at the University of Maiduguri are receiving the same thing with lecturers at the University of Lagos, Lagos State University, University of Uyo and everything. Okay. I think
standard
it is
living
high
is not the
time
same.
we began to address issues that affect federalism we are asking for.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, and today is a special on Workers' Day. I'm going to take this break, and when we come back, we'll talk more. Please don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. And we are looking at the plight of the Nigerian worker. And today is meant to be a day of celebration. If, you know, in a thriving economy, if everything is going on well, and we're meant to celebrate productivity. But we've set the one on the part of the government. Let's talk about this workers, Jide. We have, I don't know, we used to talk about between politicians and civil servants. We have a civil service that is highly unprofessional, corrupt, unwieldy, and, you know, each of the states, and we're talking about the political will on the part of the governors to be able to say, look, I don't need 50,000. What are you guys doing? I want somebody that can multitask.
Yeah, the point is, our politicians always have an eye on the next election. From the day they come to office, they already have an eye on the next election. So for that reason, they find it difficult to take the painful decisions. Painful decisions. Those painful decisions, many years down the line, people will realize that you did the right thing. But they don't want to gamble. You saw what Oshomole did, the shameful thing that Oshomole did in Edo State, where he conducted examinations to discover teachers who were not good enough, who should not be in the system. And after he discovered these people and flushed them out, he came under tremendous pressure because it was an election year, and he was forced to bring back people that he had sent packing. Meanwhile, before then, they told us,
these are teachers.
They told us gory stories, I'll use gory now, of teachers who faced the same examination with their students. Their students passed, the teachers failed. So we had a governor who brought back all of these people because he was scared that his party would lose the election. But the truth is, in Lagos here, a certain Bola Ahmed Tinubu faced with the same situation. He had to let the redundant workers go. They fought him here, I remember.
The Ayodele Achilles.
Yes, labor.
Mm.
And that woman. They fought him. But Tinubu insisted on letting that restructuring take place. It took place, and the Lagos State Civil Service is better for it. We have people in the Urban and Regional Planning Board whose stock in trade is to give approvals for people to go and build houses on drainage channels. A lot of them were sent packing. So if you do not have the courage to take the big decisions, then you are not worthy of your position as a leader, either as a governor or as a president. We must look at the civil service. That's why they can't pay. That's why they can't pay. Most of them can't pay. The bulk of the states that can pay are in the north. They can't pay. But the states that run their economy in a diligent way, in an impressive way, they get by. They get by. People will call you names when you take a decision that is not pleasing to them. They will call you names. But at the end of the day, if you believe that you did the right thing, then you must stick to your gun.
Mayor, how viable is our federal civil service?
I think the federal government can cope with the civil service. The only problem that I think with the federal civil service is, like you said, most of them are unprofessional. Over the years, we've allowed a lot of them to, in quotes, be in charge of running the country.
They're billionaires.
And they've not...
Super PAMSEC, billionaires, directors, billionaires.
So half of Abuja is owned by civil servants because they were the ones that allocated lands to themselves. They were the ones that were there to do things. They were the ones that were in charge of contract. No matter the governments that comes in or there. And it's very difficult to really restructure the civil service because election, you need them, they are entrenched in the system. And it takes time to remove them from the system.
But if you listen to the woman who speaks like a Briton, your finance minister.
Yes, sir.
She insists
what do you mean by she speaks like a Briton?
She speaks.
But she is. Yes.
That is the way.
She's schooled in England.
Okay, I know people.
She's in Nigeria.
I know people.
She's schooled in England.
She's Nigerian.
Although that is not related issue, I know people who also schooled in England. They don't speak that way.
No, you know if you're an Ajabota.
Are you going to? Okay, so she's an Ajabota.
So that has nothing to do with what you do. What is the?
We are not saying that is how I want to describe her. And when I describe her that way, more Nigerians will know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because they know that she doesn't speak like the rest of us. That is a fact.
Yes.
The way I speak is not the way she speaks. She speaks like the Queen.
Because you didn't school in England.
Because you didn't school in England.
We went to school
in England.
So your argument is that I didn't school in England.
Probably maybe you schooled in Russia.
I have colleagues here in this company who schooled in England and they don't speak like that. You want us to bring them in? We know people who spent more years in the UK than her who do not speak like that. Well,
okay, let's go back to the subject matter now.
The woman who speaks like the Queen, your finance minister,
yes,
she said that, look, the overheads in the federal civil service is killing. When she gave the figures,
I think 150 billion.
165.
Yes.
165.
You see, now, if every month 165 billion goes to pay people's salaries, you can now understand why our budget is the way it is every year.
Yeah,
it's even higher than the National Assembly.
So I believe that even the civil service fundamental restructuring has to take place. There are so many redundancies in the federal civil service. People, you have 7 drivers to 3 cars. It can't continue. There's no government that can be run like that. We must take the bold decisions to say, see, we want to reduce this redundancy. If we do not do that, we are postponing the evil day.
I think I have a caller. Thank you for joining us. Happy Workers' Day.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Happy Workers' Day.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution, Taufik.
Well done. I want to appreciate you guys in the studio. And my message is this. For what's happening in Abuja today is just a clear signal to our leaders that Nigerian workers are tired of the way they are running this system. 18,000 minimum wage is nothing to write home about. Yet, these people have been playing on our intelligence.
Yes.
The so-called Adam Oshiomhole that wanted to persuade workers today, what has he done for good 8 years among his colleagues, Governors Forum, to persuade the National Assembly that they should increase salary? If salary review is a constitutional right, then that means that those people in National Assembly, they are criminals. Because what the Constitution stated is that they should review government workers' salary after every 5 years. This is more than almost 11 years that they have reviewed our salary. So the message today, we thank God that they have seen the message, they have gotten the message, the whole world have received the message, and the next line of action is going to be drawn if they remain the way they are.
Thank you, Taufik. Thank you for your contribution. Martin, your reaction to this?
Well, you know, it is the same thing that the 18,000 naira is about $40 now. You know, naira, how it was in 2011 when it was raised to that they say they cannot pay now. But it is still the same thing that we are saying that, well, this minimum wage, you could, there is one issue we didn't even address. When they raised this fuel price to 145, they promised a palliative to the workers, which has not been fulfilled.
That, I think that's about the highest in, in recent times.
No, you see the increase in the price of
workers,
petrol
palliative
is the main reason why inflation has reached the heights it has reached at this time.
Knew that.
We must admit that to ourselves. We can abuse Jonathan the way we like, but nothing has pushed Nigeria to the edge as much as that significant increase
from 90.
And no palliative that they promised. They promised at that time. I think that is exactly what they are talking about now. The workers are angry and nobody is engaging them. And we should go to the fundamental that we discussed before. This federalism, a fiscal federalism, federalism in any form. Let the states pay the workers. Yes. Let them determine the number they can pay. The reform that we were talking about, whether at federal level or state level of civil service, it is still the political leadership that will do the reform. Even today, the finance minister was talking about this 165 billion they are trying to reduce, and that they have even detected that some people receive multiple salary.
I think I have another caller. Let me quickly take this caller. Thank you for joining us.
That's why you have to look at that civil service.
Yes.
Hello, thank you for joining us. Happy Workers' Day.
Hello.
Yes, you're on.
My name is Boshade from Lagos. Yes.
Okay, Aborishade, please go ahead with your contribution quickly.
Kudos to you guys for good job well done there. My contribution is that I will not support the increment of salary or the minimum wage so-called. But those NSC that the major body that I hate most in my life, they are not doing anything to help the graduates outside there without job. They are just shouting of minimum wage, minimum wage. And there are many graduates outside there, over 10 years graduates that don't have job. And they are going out there to buy anything from market.
Thank you, Aborishade. When we return, northern governors wade into the feud between the Emir of Kano and the governor of Kano State. Well, welcome back. The Cold War between the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, and the governor of the states, Abdullahi Ganduje, is now over. Thank God. Reports say over the weekend. Yes, over the weekend, northern governors brokered a peace between the two parties. The Emir recently criticized one of the governor's projects, and the Emir had under the investigation by the Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Agency for allegedly misappropriating the Emir's council funds, the Emir funds. The Emir had since denied this allegation. Last week, a national daily reported that the Emir might be suspended to pave way for the ongoing investigation. What is really happening? Let's just go around the updates on this. This is going to be like our 4th edition on this particular story. So what's the updates we have now?
Yeah, the governors came together. Governors like Tambua,
Governor of Sokoto State.
The governor of Kaduna State, who is a long-term personal friend of the Emir. They came together and they got the governor of Kano to agree to attend that meeting. They have been pressurizing him to make himself available. Invariably, he agreed to be part of the meeting held in the government house, Kaduna. Governors like Tambua,
Governor of Sokoto State.
The governor of Kaduna State, who is a long-term personal friend of the Emir. They came together and they got the governor of Kano to agree to attend that meeting. They have been pressurizing him to make himself available. Invariably, he agreed to be part of the meeting held in the government house, Kaduna. And at that place, the Emir of Kano apologized, for the comment that he made about the project, the Kano Light Rail project. And both of them agreed to
work together.
And the Emir attended an event inside Government House, Kano, yesterday, which will tell you that significant progress had been made to reconcile both men. You see, some of the issues that we've been saying here, that some of us have been saying here, were also echoed at the meeting, which is that, look, whatever you have against your governor, you should be able to tell your governor, because as the traditional ruler, you are the leader of all, you are the father of all. They call them royal fathers. So when someone does something wrong, you must feel free to tell that person. You don't have to go public, because when you go public, the impression being created is that you want to embarrass that person. So they are not used to that style. And they told him, and he admitted his fault and apologized. And the fact still remains that an emir or an oba is an employee of the state government. The state government can issue a query to a traditional ruler. He's an employee of the state government, funded by the state government. You know? So if you go around abusing your governor, especially when you do it even outside your state, you go somewhere, it will be interpreted to mean that you do not like that man. They may even read political meanings to your actions. Meanwhile, you could actually be doing it without any evil intention. But the lessons have been learned, and we expect that the emir will cool down, will reduce his sorties from town to town, talking about national issues.
Mayor, can we be rest assured that this emir will not rock the boat again, going by his nature?
I'm not sure about that. I'm happy about this development because Emir Sanusi is somebody that I like. I remember that the last time I was on this program, we discussed about him, and we said the way he was going to put himself in trouble, which was what happened. And I'm happy that other governors were able to broker this peace, because if there's a confrontation between the emir and the governor, the emir will be the loser. And though some people claim he said he doesn't mind losing the throne, but that's not true.
He didn't tell anybody.
He didn't tell anybody. Some people claim that, but I know that that is his greatest ambition. That's his greatest ambition. Yes, his greatest ambition.
Let him say it by now. But when you lose the throne, you will also be placed under house arrest. Those of them who lost the throne in the past, we didn't see them going up and down, still talking. So people must realize what is
I'm happy that there is this space. But what I'm not sure is because Sanusi has this streak in him. Maybe another 6 months down the line, another 4 months down the line, he will just say something.
Maybe he will not take on his governor anymore.
Yeah, I think he should not do that. He should not, because
he may still be talking about national government.
Yes, he can afford to take something. No, because it's the same thing.
That's why I said he must choose his fights.
Even his
you can't take on everybody.
Influence his governor. Because he's an APC governor.
Yes.
So, if you want to take on
the governor is extremely loyal to Mr. President.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to take on the government, then you should know that, that's what we advised at that time, that there are channels. Because as a first-class emir, there are channels that you can take opportunity to reach governments.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, I believe that is what will happen. He is fortunate that the governor is not just a politician. The governor is a
gentleman.
He's a gentleman. He's an academic.
Abdullah Ganduje.
Ganduje. He obtained his doctorate degree from the University of Ibadan. And he also got to directorate level in civil service.
Yes.
And he was a commissioner to 3 governors in Kano State before he was elected as deputy governor to Kwakwanso twice. Good deputy governor.
So also build up.
He has risen through the ranks. He's not just a politician. I believe that he will also advise the governor as they have reached this rapprochement that cool down. He's a peaceful person, and I know him from Abuja. Ganduje is the Governor Ganduje is a peaceful person, but I don't know whether Sanusi will
back down.
Will not talk. He will talk, but as Jide said, it is wise for him to avoid talking and criticizing his governor. If he observes anything, it is good for him to go to the government house to talk to the governor that these are my own observations about the way things are going here, not to go to a public place and wash.
On the final note,
we still need him to intervene in national issues. For example, he's experienced in
CBN,
in banking, so he can actually say, look, this is the best way to go about it. Oh, the interest rate at this point is not going to stimulate investment. Let's do it this way. We need him to make such interventions. You know, if he comes forward now to say, look, we don't need so many forest windows and all that, I will know that he has done the right thing. You know, for politics, the problem is politics has a way of bringing down even decent people, because your actions will just be misinterpreted. And because that's what people are saying. Somebody was telling me, no, we know that the emir wants to contest. I say, how? Contest? How now? He's already there as emir. He can't contest.
He has a lot to learn from the way even Peter Obi spoke at the platform today. He has a lot to learn. You know, Peter Obi will not bring anybody down. He will even bring out the good things that they have done. Even the minister sitting down there, that these are the area they have gone. But you know, that way he has a balanced way of communicating without bringing anybody down. He will use data to tell the stories without.
But I must give it to him. He's a very Lamido Sanusi is a very, very blunt person. He doesn't know how to. You know,
but when you are the emir of Kano, you cannot take
you have to
moderate your.
And I've said it repeatedly. Even it's not only in Kano. Our traditional rulers here. I challenged someone last week. Someone who said that the Awujale is outspoken. I said, okay, tell me how many front page news Awujale has created this year. He rarely talks. That's why whenever he talks, whatever he says carries a lot of weight.
He even wrote a book.
Over the weekend, the police arrested a former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, for allegedly making statements capable of inciting violence. The police said they received a petition on April the 27th from Jigawa State government against the former governor, who was accused of asking his supporters to resort to violence if the July 1 local government election did not go their way. But his political associates said he's been victimized for being an opposition leader. Lamido would be charged to court on Tuesday. What is happening in Jigawa State? Jide, I know for sure that Sule Lamido is one of the shining lights in the opposition, and he is very consistent in the People's Democratic Party, and the pressure was on him to come over to APC before the Hurricane Buhari swept everybody, but he stuck to the People's Democratic Party, and I know he has been eyeing the presidency for a long time. Does this have any political undertone?
You see, one thing is clear. Sule is extremely committed to the PDP. He built an estate in Duse that he named after all the founding fathers of the PDP. So that's to tell you that he remains nostalgic about that party. And I remember...
Is he a founding member?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
And I remember when someone brought one story in 2013 that Sule Lamido had decided to leave the PDP. I said right there that is a lie. I made sure that that story didn't go on air. I said, this is a lie. And I called him, and he confirmed that it was a lie. Sule Lamido has remained consistent, even when his political father, Abubakar Rime, left the PDP and began to wage a war against the PDP. You know, Rime fell out with Obasanjo,
Yes.
you know, in 1999, and began to work against the party. Sule Lamido remained. Sule Lamido and Kwankwaso organized the PDP in Kano State and ensured that the PDP was able to take power back from the ANPP. You know, that Malam Shekarau led in Kano. So he's faithful to his party. And in the last few months, he's been really talking. You know, he granted an interview to the BBC Hausa service about 2 Saturdays ago, where he said, even if Shaitan comes with the intention of contesting the presidency, that they would rather support Shaitan to kick out the APC. This must be that interview must be one reason why they've come after him. But what we are told is that he told these people that, look, that this local government election is important. Of course it's important as we approach 2019. If you have local government, if your local government chairmen are in charge in the various local government,
yes, it
you
will give you
have a good
head
chance
start
of winning in those places. You know, so Sule Lamido realizes as a veteran politician, a good tactician, and they felt, look, PDP must win those local government councils in Jigawa State. But what he said, as I heard, was that if they are not happy with the outcome, if the outcome goes against the wish of the people, that they must resist it, they must fight, you know. So that is what the police, what they are holding him for now.
Okay, let me quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Please don't go away. It's still Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. Welcome back, and we are still looking at the politics going on in Jigawa, and I'm sure that this has a lot to do with 2019. Mayor.
Yes, for democracy to grow, we must be tolerant of opposition. There is no beauty of democracy if there is no opposition, and we need an effective opposition. So I don't think this government is overreacting. Everybody must not be on the same page with government. If I'm in PDP and I don't agree with certain things that it's doing, I should feel free to say that. But having said that, I don't also agree that Lamido should incite its supporters to violence. Local government election all over Nigeria is organized by states, even when he was there. And in most cases, the
ruling party will win.
Yes, the
ruling almost
100% in most cases.
That has to stop.
It has to stop.
No, it has to stop, but that's the reality on ground. So, for you to now say, oh, if things go against us, you cannot incite, that's wrong. You cannot incite.
That assuming, if he says...
Assuming
he said if it does not reflect the wish of the people.
No, that's the same thing.
I have Sule. Sule is calling us from Kano. Thank you for joining us, Sule.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well done for this wonderful job you've been doing.
Thank you, Sule.
You see, this issue of Sule Lamido, sincerely speaking...
No, yes, but that's the reality on ground. So, for you to now say, oh, if things go against us, you cannot incite, that's wrong. You cannot incite.
That assuming, if he says...
Assuming,
he said if it does not reflect the wish of the people.
No, that's the same thing.
I have Sule. Sule is calling us from Kano. Thank you for joining us, Sule.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well done for this wonderful job you've been doing.
Thank you, Sule.
You see, this issue of Sule Lamido, sincerely speaking, what they are accusing Sule Lamido of is what was being preached during the APC campaign days. What Sule Lamido said was that people, let me say it the way he said it in Hausa, Akasa, Atare, Araka, meaning when you vote, you guard your vote, you escort your vote. What is wrong in this? And this was APC coinage. This was coined by APC when they were campaigning in 2015.
So stay with the
votes.
votes.
They said, based on the petition, that he was piling arms in his house.
They went and searched two of his houses in Bamaina and Kano, and they did not discover anything there. So why are you holding this man for God's sake? And what he is being charged of is what you people have created. The coinage was coined by APC during the 2015 election, and he has said it now to his people, Akasa, Atari, Araka, meaning you got your vote. You ensure that it's not tampered with what you voted. So what is wrong in this, for God's sake?
Thank you,
Are
Sule.
we now trying to deny
that was
the
quite
opposition
enlightening.
the right?
Thank you, Sule, at least for giving us this additional information.
Yes.
Now we have a better picture of what is happening. Yes. Now, is it because the opposition, is it because of the absence of opposition since this party started out in 2015? Because PDP, they've been having intra-party crisis and they've not tested what it means for the opposition to be on their toes.
Well, this one has nothing so much to do with the opposition per se. This is Sule Lamido versus the police in Jigawa State. And this is one of the
versus
things.
Yes. The governor.
The governor. You know, maybe the governor.
The APC governor.
And they're using the police. But, you know, they are actually, they are diminishing the majesty of democracy. How do we find democracy without a valid opposition like that? If you do not have opposition, then we are finished. We'll go one way. If somebody is saying, guard your vote, they, as he said, this is what they said. Even in 2011, they said so. In 2015, they said so. It even led to violence in some cases. So if in a democracy, you cannot advise your voters, your supporters, you cannot ask people to do anything, then the democracy is in trouble. I believe that they should listen to what Justice Olatawura said in the Second Republic when he gave a judgment on Umwakwa versus Anambra State government, that sedition that they are pursuing now has no place in a democratic society. And that people who are in government, political leaders, should just plug their ears with cotton wool. And that if they cannot stand the heat, they should leave the kitchen. So they should be able to stand the heat of opposition. This is a kind of government where people can continue to say all sorts of things, all ideas in a democracy. Listen to parliamentary debate in UK, every day,
even South Africa.
News, even in South Africa. They will
Look
even
at
be
that woman
insulting
the president.
Insulting
He
the
said
president.
Zuma is the biggest thief in the world.
The whole world. They asked her to stop. And even when
the woman refused to stop.
And when the pressure was too much on them in South Africa, all the opposition members in parliament walked out.
Even Theresa May in the British parliament.
They will say,
Jide, I want to notice, I want to say that this administration, in as much as we stand, you know, they are just running and this is the second year, and we want to see how tolerant they are going to be days ahead, because it's going to get clearer and clearer the direction of 2019 in the next 2 years now.
It's important that they show tolerance. I don't know what the Nigerian society is turning into when even the Senate led by Bukola Saraki, Buki, refuses to show tolerance. If you criticize them, they invite you to come and face them. They even invited the person trying their president. They invited him. Have you forgotten?
Yes.
They invited the
justice,
CCB chairman. So it's part of the intolerance. If Bukola Saraki and co can't show tolerance at their level, then you expect Mr. President and the people around him,
like
the man with the white beard and other people, to show, they won't show tolerance. So, but for democracy, you see the kind of democracy that we practice in Nigeria is like bullfighting. You either kill, you must kill to avoid being killed. The animal that you are trying to kill has a legitimate right to kill you. It's just so our democracy is just like bullfighting. You want to crush someone. So anybody who wants to oppose you, whom you see as a threat, you want to destroy him. If you cannot, if they can't murder the person, then they go after him in other ways. So democracy should not be like that. I had more dangerous things said by during even the US election. You remember the way Trump was talking? Trump and some of his supporters. So we have to be tolerant for democracy to grow in our land.
If the election does not go his way, talking about not accepting the results.
We have said it repeatedly that we need a strong opposition.
Yes.
Because a strong opposition will make democracy stronger in our country. So if we see the PDP trying to regain its past and make itself strong at this time and respond appropriately to national policies, then we should be happy. If we have a situation in which the no opposition party is really giving the government of the day some form of challenge, then we are doomed.
Yes.
Then we are doomed. And people like Sule Lamido, who have chosen not to defect to the APC, they must not be intimidated to join others who are defecting.
We would like the likes of Ayo Fayose, and constantly he has been playing the role of the spokesman of the People's Democratic Party, him through his Larry Olayinka and every other time. And when you look at what Alhaji Lai Mohammed did during the last dispensation, we credit him because he was on the Goodluck administration. He was on their policies every day, and he was able to, hit them to line.
Yeah, I think we need people like Sule Lamido because PDP have not been able to put their house in order, and because of that, they are not providing effective opposition to this government, and that is why this government is making so many mistakes, and because nobody is giving us an alternative platform to what should be done. So I think based on the information that we got for the last caller, I think the police should do the needful and not embarrass themselves by charging Sule Lamido on Tuesday, because I don't see anything that will come out illegal.
Of it. It's going to be this charge.
Yes, I don't see anything that is illegal in asking your supporters to protect their votes.
Okay, I have a call from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. Ayatu. Hello, Ayatu, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution, quickly.
Good evening, Babajide.
Good evening.
What I want to say is, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're on.
Hello, good evening.
Ayatu, you are on.
Yeah, this is Ayatu from Lagos.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution.
My contribution is on Sule Lamido. If people are dead at 2015, there is a comment from APC. But most of our politicians, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Ayatu. Well, Ayatu, I'm so out of time. Gentlemen, our last take on this, and as we march towards the second half of this administration, by 29th of May this year, this administration
yes, I believe that government should be tolerant of opposition. They should be tolerant of opposition because they need opposition to even put them on their toes so that they can work in the interest of the larger society.
Mayor.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this government should leave their siege mentality and concentrate on siege mentality. Yes, and concentrate on delivering the dividends of democracy that they promised us.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Jide.
I expect the case against Sule Lamido, whenever it's eventually filed, to be thrown away by the judge, because I really do not see anything extraordinary that he has done, and I've known him for a long time as a peace-loving person. He does not strike me as someone who is interested in fomenting violence. So tolerance is the key. We can't all be in the same party. We may not like the PDP as a party because of where they led us, but those who want to remain in the party, let them remain. And if they want to constitute a little nuisance to the government of the day, it's allowed, because Lai Mohammed constituted so much nuisance to them. They didn't enjoy him. He dealt with them. They had to accept his surrender.
They were like, no.
He dealt with them. Lai Mohammed really dealt with them. So if Sule Lamido wants to, in old age, embrace the job that Lai Mohammed was doing for the PDP, let him be.
All right, I will thank you. Martin Zaloja, it's been nice. Thank you. And Mayor Akikbelu, thank you. And Babajide Kolade, what's And that's all on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeats tonight at 11 p.m. and you can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. Bye for now and God bless Nigeria.